Hi guys, welcome back to Backyard Hangout. I'm your host, Olivia Mazzaros. This week we're going to be talking about life as a student athlete during the pandemic. Today I have a guest. His name is Aiden Vespi.
Hello everybody.
Aiden Vespi is attending Embry-Riddle Aeronautical School down in Prescott, Arizona. So Aiden, today we're going to talk about what life was like during the pandemic as a student athlete. To start off, could you tell us some things about Embry-Riddle Aeronautical School? I know that aeronautical school isn't something that's very common. So what is aeronautical school all about?
Embry-Riddle Aeronautical is a very centered school around aviation and technology surrounding aviation. There are a bunch of courses and majors surrounding aeronautical engineering as well as astro engineering, mechanical engineering for more land-based things. There's also, at that school, a cyber program, a global studies program, and business. There's also a business program in there. It's pretty limited, but it's very, very effective knowledge to learn.
That's really interesting because I do know that you guys do have two locations, and I know that the Prescott location is a lot less populated than the Florida location. Could you tell us more about what you're majoring in and what kind of things you're learning through your major?
Yeah, actually we do have two locations. The first one opened up down in Daytona Beach, Florida, and the second one, the one that I go to, was opened up about 20 years ago in Prescott, Arizona. I study cybersecurity under the global security program that they have there.
Yeah, and to my understanding, I know that baseball probably looked a lot different this season because of the pandemic. Can you tell us what that looked like?
Yeah, actually, my school didn't let us play a whole lot of baseball. We had to wear masks at practice. We weren't allowed to start practice for about a month until the scheduled day that we were supposed to, and we had to go through a lot of protocols. You couldn't really do a whole lot, but it was basically just stick to the script, stick to what everybody else is doing, and we just had to keep on keeping on. That's what.
Yeah. Did the other location look any different than what you guys look like?
Not really, not a whole lot. Down in Daytona, they shut down baseball and their whole season almost as soon as the pandemic began. And we were a little bit later. However, we dropped out of our conference, sadly, pretty early.
Did that conference go on? Like, did other people get to compete in that conference?
Yes, 8 out of the 10 teams in our conference actually did get to have a season, whereas us, Embry-Riddle Aeronautical, and another school, Westcliff, I'm not sure what the name was, they dropped out too.
Oh, that's really upsetting because I know that, that's mainly the whole reason that I know that you went out there, right? And probably a few of those other kids that are on the team as well. Are you on any sort of scholarship with the school?
Indeed. Academic and for baseball.
Yeah, sweet. So what are your hopes and plans for this upcoming season? Do you already know if you're going to have a season? Is it going to be partially, social distance? Are they still going to have some requirements and regulations, or is it going to be a lot more open?
My hope is that we can have a full season. I really hope that we will be able to have a normal season the way that it was supposed to plan out, way it would have been pre-COVID, but who knows how that may go. So honestly, we'll just have to adjust, which I can almost guarantee there will probably be quite a few things that I will have to adjust to, that the school will have to adjust to in this new world that we live in.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It'll be interesting.
So had they not said anything about this upcoming season at all?
No.
Really?
All we got was an email from our chancellor, and they said that we don't have to wear masks anymore. But
well, that's
other
nice.
than that, yeah.
How was that, wearing masks during practice? Was that it's really restricting, I feel like.
Yeah, it's really the worst when you're running.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
Like, some of the masks are better than others, but some of them, they really would, catch you with your breath. And
yeah, just because, when you breathe,
you
it
suck
goes,
it in.
yeah.
It wasn't really the best. And learning, your teammates, especially while everybody's masked up and no one really wants to talk to each other, especially because we're all masked up, it's hard to talk and it's hard to hear. But,
exactly.
So it was a little bit, it was hard adjusting to that too. I had to learn people by their eyes a lot more than their face.
Yeah.
I had to look at people's hair and their eyes instead.
That actually brings me to my next question is, in regards to baseball and just schooling in general, was it a lot harder for you to make friends? Because I know that you're not from Arizona, you're from Reno, right? And so I know that like that social interaction, how was that? Like, did that differ than what it would have been if
Absolutely.
COVID didn't exist?
Absolutely. Especially being an athlete at school, they really did not tolerate any sort of outbreak within the team, especially because they didn't want anything to tarnish the name or like anything like that, which I think the school was really concerned with. So I wasn't actually able to make many friends throughout this past year. I had me and my roommates, we talked about at the end of the year about how we would know every single person that would live in our building that we lived in, but we don't know anyone in our hallway. So we were like, that we found that to be a little sad.
Yeah, that is a little disheartening, just because like when you go into college, it's usually like the time that you're gonna make a ton of friends, especially freshman year.
Yeah, exactly.
And you are going into your sophomore year, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so you only got 1 year out of it so far, and I hope that it gets better. I mean, mainly because freshman year was obviously not the best, so hopefully sophomore, junior, senior year will be even better.
Indeed.
You know, hopefully nothing like this happens again. I wanted to talk more steering away from baseball, steering more into your major. How is that like learning, you know, cybersecurity? Was it hard? Is it still hard? How are you adjusting to that?
Learning my major cybersecurity was I feel like there's a pretty big learning curve between those who have been like into computers and stuff and those who aren't. And I was kind of in the middle of that pack. I knew about how computers worked and about how all the basic functions, and I was pretty literate with computers. However, I never really put any like truly extra time into like learning like how computers would work or how to code, and that was the biggest like challenge for me, was learning how to code. While some people in my major, in my classes, already had that down, and they would, and they would be already leagues ahead of me as I'm just trying to get there.
Yeah. Did you have hybrid classes? Some in person, some
Indeed,
not
all
in
of our
person?
classes were hybrid.
Okay, so how many times a week did you see, you know, like your coding professor?
I saw one of my professors actually were all in person, which I was very surprised.
Nice.
We would have him twice a week.
Okay.
But that was the most in person I ever got the entire year. Other than that, classes would be maximum once a week in person.
Gotcha.
I didn't have any classes that were completely online though, which was nice.
So in regards to like stress, did you feel any of that? I know that it is your freshman year, and going into freshman year, being a, you know, athlete and studying a major that's not very easy, and on top of that there was a pandemic. How was your stress level during this last year?
Stress levels were pretty, I'm not sure if I would say they're up or down from the last year, as like the senior year of high school was dealing with like that first like loss of COVID and like the loss of the year and like the season. That was a little tough on me. So like in terms of like the stress level, if I'm going to compare it, but over this past year, I'd probably say it was probably more of a stressful year due to the coronavirus pandemic and the quarantine that we would had to follow.
So now that we've gotten through all the stressful talk and all the talk about school and, you know, all your athletics, it's kind of a gossip hour. We're going to talk about how many times did you have to quarantine, why did you have to quarantine, and what came out of that. In regards to what you told me prior to the interview, was you and a few other players got in trouble with the school because you guys had a poker night or something. Can we talk more about that?
Breaking news. I see.
Breaking news.
I mean, back when I first started at the school, a bunch of new teammates and I actually didn't really know these people. We were all in a group chat that our coach created with the first player that he recruited, and they basically just created this Snapchat group chat, and we would just have people in it. And from like the summer
up until we actually went to school. So I didn't really know these kids, but I knew these kids.
Yeah.
Like their names were in my brain. And so one of the older players who was a transfer, he sent a text that said, "Hey, I think he actually said like something about team bonding in there." But they were having like a poker night at their apartment that they got, and during this poker night that we had, it was a good time. And after that, we all went home and everything was normal. And then after that, a few days later, we my roommate who drove us there, he gets a call.
Is he an athlete as well, or
yes,
no?
My roommate, former roommate, he actually dropped out of school.
Oh.
That's another story.
We'll
for
get into that
another
later.
day.
Yeah.
But he got a call from our coach asking if we were at that event, and then we confirmed yes. We said yeah, we were, and from there on, we learned that we were suspended by the school for violating the.
All of you?
Yes, there were 13 of us.
Dang. Out of the how big is your team? Sorry.
We had about 35 guys on the team.
Dang.
And yes, I believe about 13 of us.
Jeez. We're suspended?
15. Yeah,
for
15
how,
students were
for
suspended.
Not suspended from the school, suspended from the team, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and how long was that? Like, what did you guys not get to do for how long, and how long did the other people who weren't suspended get to do things?
So our suspension was indefinite. So they said it should be no more than 2 weeks when we got in our first Zoom call. The disciplinary don't go out.
And what was that meeting like? Sorry, I just want to know.
Oh, that was pretty interesting. As they told us, we were all just in this Zoom meeting, and the athletic director and I believe the assistant athletic director were talking to us, and they basically said, "Hey, we know that you're college students. We know that you guys are gonna go out, but this type of thing is just not acceptable for these times."
Yeah, and did you mention earlier, prior to the interview, that there was a hazing issue? Was that what it was?
They believed it to be. We heard something about that. They said that there was another investigation involved with the team. Involved with that night, other than just.
So it had nothing. So it had nothing to do with the night with you and the team at the poker night.
Yes, I believe so. So
was there hazing?
There. No, I don't. And then there was something that got dropped. Because,
so that was like up in the air. It was They were talking about it, and then they decided that actually didn't happen.
Yeah.
We're not
Sadly,
talk
I
about
did
that.
not have a whole lot of information on that.
Oh, okay.
I only got like word. Spoken word.
Gotcha.
It said, "I think they're coming at us for hazing." And I said, "What?"
What? Yeah, I know that is a lot to pile on, especially when you're already going through the issue of being suspended for hanging out, you know, and like just like getting to know your teammates, especially during these hard times. That's like the only time you can actually hang out is outside of school. So like, why would that have been an issue? Especially since there was 13 of you. Isn't that only like 3 over the actual?
Exactly.
That I know that does suck, and I'm sorry to hear about that. That's really, really upsetting, and I hope that this next year gets better. I hope that you guys get to all experience what you want to experience, and that hopefully you guys are able to handle school, in-person classes, and hanging out, and you know, stress levels don't go out of control. But it looks like we're going to end the interview there today. I want to give a big thanks to Aiden Vespi, Embry-Riddle baseball player, for joining us today. Next week, we will hopefully meet with the Embry-Riddle volleyball team and see how they are doing. This was Backyard Hangout. I'm your host, Olivia Mazzaros, and we'll see you next week.